All right, so for this video, we're going to go over annotating a furnishings plan. So the point of the furnishings plan is to show all of the finishes, which is sometimes the furnishings plan is called a furnishings plan. They're used interchangeably often. So the furnishings plan or the finishings plan, the point is to show all of the finishes in the house or the project. It also gives you a place where you can link to the interior elevations. And different projects do this differently. So on a residential project, I find that it's okay to show the interior elevation tags inside the furnishings plan. But on a large project like the high school or like the junior high, they will call out the enlarged plan, but they won't show the interior elevation markers until you go to the enlarged plan. So for our project though, I think for our project, we'll follow it as if it was commercial. We will call out the enlarged plans, which will take us to the enlarged plan sheet, and then we'll do the call outs for the exterior or the interior elevations there. So we want to make sure to clean up this view. So in our last video, I showed you how to copy the main floor plan view settings over to our furnishings plan. So we'll start from there. In addition to the view settings we've already changed, we also want to get rid of the section tags. You don't need to really see the sections to understand the finishes. So I'm just going to right click on this and I can hide in view, and I'm going to hide the category. That does the same thing as if I was to open up the visibility graphics and go to the annotations category. And if I look at sections in the S, do you see how it just deselected the box? I could have done it that way, but it's faster to just right click, hide in view, and hide the whole category. Okay, now the other thing you want to make sure you're showing in here is the call outs for the enlarged plans. If you're not showing that, if you accidentally created your call outs in a different floor plan, you need to actually delete the call outs, which will also delete your enlarged floor plan. It will delete both things, the view and the tag. And then you need to go back to your furnishings plan and make new call outs. So I'm going to have you do that for this exercise. We're going to call out the primary bedroom, the primary bathroom. We're going to call out this bedroom. So I need you to do a call out for the bedroom. We're going to do a call out for probably not the entry, but the bathroom is typically a place that has enough interior design that you need to call it out. And then the living room, we should probably have one. I won't make you do the dining room, but probably the kitchen definitely needs it. So let's continue to make more call outs. Let's call out, in fact, let's combine the living or the kitchen and the dining room into one call out like that. And we can edit it if we need to. And let's do one more call out for the living room. Down here. All right. So now we have a call out for most of the main rooms in our houses. The other thing I mentioned the furnishings plan should show, besides the call outs, is the floor finishes, or at least the floor pattern. The rooms should be tagged, because if we were looking at this and weren't able to see the room tags, it's confusing to know where the rooms are or what rooms are, what their names are, is what I'm saying. Then we should probably show the furniture as well. So let's go to visibility graphics. Let's turn on the floor pattern. So if we go to the floors, you can see that we have the floor pattern overridden in this view. Let's click on that. And let's click on that. You can actually just hit clear overrides right here. and it'll change it back to the way it was. So now if we hit apply, we can see our floor patterns now. And the other thing we want to do is show the furniture. So while we're here, let's click the furniture box and click apply. And now our furniture comes back. So something I personally like to do is I like to make this a little bit better looking than it is. If you just did this, you're probably fine. But I like to soften the floor pattern because they're a little too harsh. So if you go to the floors and you click override the patterns, actually not even override the pattern. If you come to floors, over here on the edge, there's a little column that says halftone. Let's click that button, that checkbox, and click apply. And now it will make everything gray. All the floors will be gray. So now they don't stand out as much. The other thing I like to do to make this view easier to look at is like on a floor plan, it matters what the walls are made of. But in a furnishings plan, we don't care how the walls are built. The floor plan takes care of that. The sections take care of that. The legends on the floor plans take care of that. But in furnishings, the assembly of the walls aren't that important. So what I like to do is I turn the view down to coarse. So now it's not showing all the layers in the walls. And now it makes it a little bit better to look at. And then the next thing I do is I go back to the visibility settings and I go down to the W's, the walls, and I change the cut pattern. So if you go over to the cut section where it says pattern, I hit override and I pick a solid pattern. So now it's going to color it solid and it's going to use whatever color I pick here. So I use light gray and I click OK and OK again. And now it's a light gray. So now I can quickly look at this plan. I know where the walls are and I can see the floor patterns, but they're not overwhelming. And I can also see the furniture layout. And I can also see the callouts for each room. So now this is a little bit easier to look at. So this is how I like to do my furnishings plan. Each company you work for will have a different standard. But if you're working for yourself, what you're really trying to do is you just want to communicate in this view the things that you're trying to communicate, and then the things that are distracting, either eliminate them or tone them down. It's a little bit of an art, but I want to show you how you can change how things look so that you can control the way you want it to look when you do your own plans. Okay, so that's the furnishings plan. Remember I told you the room names should probably be in this plan. So we're going to go back to the annotate command and use the tag all like I showed you before, and we're going to go to room tags. We're going to do the room tag and we're going to pick the tag we want. We want it to be name only, and we'll click OK. And it placed all those tags for us, and for the most part it did a good job. I'm just going to move the dining out of the dining table. Again, you don't like you don't like labels to be crossing over parts of the model if you can avoid it. So if I had an island in here, I would need to move the kitchen label out of the island. But for now, this is looking pretty good. And then it reminds me, we did the dimension plan. The dimension plan should also have the rooms tagged. So while we're doing this, let's tag all of the rooms on the dimension plan. And again, we'll just use the name only tag and click OK. And there we go. So the patio is kind of getting in the way of our dimensions. So let's do that up there. Oh, and then the bed again is in the way. So let's do that. All right, things look pretty clean. This is a little close for comfort for me, so I'm going to move it over a little bit. Okay, so there's our furnishings plan. We did our callouts. Well, the other thing we need to do is we need to name our callouts. Because if you look over here, do you see how it created the views for us? But let's just call out 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's click on the callout, and if you come over here, there's something called view name. let's change the name there. So this would be, let's do this kitchen. Enlarged plan. Okay, I won't make you watch me rename all these. I will pause and do it myself. Okay, so now I have renamed all of my enlarged plans so they'll be easier to sheet later, and I also know what they are by looking at their name. So let's continue on through. Let's sheet those views. So let's go to our interior elevation sheets. I'm going to save the project really quickly. And let's look at the arrangement on the sheet. We're going to start, let's see if we can get all 4 of these rooms. Well, it's going to be 6 in the end. Let's see if we can get them all on here. Let's put the bathroom on here. Let's put the bedroom, the kitchen, and the living room. There we go. So now those are sheeted and they look pretty good. You can see, we'll get into this in the next video when we talk about annotating the enlarged plans and the elevations. Now let's go back to our furnishings plan. And everything's looking pretty good. And let's go to our sheets because in the end, we need to see how these are looking on our sheets. So let's just check them. So our floor plan, that's looking pretty good. You want to make sure nothing's running off of the page or it's not running into the label, the view label, and it looks pretty good. What about our dimension plan? Okay, our dimension plan's looking pretty good. Depending on how you did your dimensions, if you pulled them far down, then they might be hitting your tag and you'll want to take a moment to fix that. But this looks pretty good on the sheet. Our reflected ceiling plan we never messed with, so we will leave that alone. And let's go down to our furnishings plan. That's looking pretty good on our sheet as well. So I'm going to say we've done pretty good up to this point, and so I will see you in the next video.